We welcome you to Raleigh, North Carolina in the NCAA tournament first round. The 13th seed VCU Rams against the 4th seeded Wake Forest Demon Deacons. This is the East Rutherford Regional. Earlier today here in Raleigh, Manhattan beats Florida. And Texas Tech took care of Charlotte. Skip Prosser is the coach of Wake Forest. 3rd season with the Demon Deacons. And this afternoon, the Deacons will start Jamal Levy, Trent Strickland, Eric Williams, backcourt at Chris Paul and Justin Gray. Youngest coach in Division I, Jeff Capel, with Nick George, Troy Godwin, Domonic Jones, B.A. Walker, and Jesse Pellarosa. Our officials this afternoon, Randy McCall, Eugene Crawford, and Rick Hartzell. And we are underway. Long-range shot to start things, and that's B.A. Walker, who is a freshman.
VCU, an excellent three-point shooting team. Wake Forest in the man-to-man. Chris Paul and B.A. Walker, a couple of really fine freshman point guards.
Gray takes it inside and out of bounds.
In any game such as this one, it's really important for the underdog to get off to a good start. We saw that in our first matchup with Manhattan. When VCU scored the first 3 points of the game, they certainly have helped their cause. Man-to-man for Wake.
Domonic Jones. Rebounded nicely by Levy. Here's Paul outside for Gray. Rebound by Levy.
Levy is really long and active. He doesn't have a lot of muscle on that frame, but he has an uncanny ability to get himself close to the basketball. Really does some damage on the boards.
B.A. Walker is the CAA Rookie of the Year. And he goes inside, and Troy Godwin took it up hard. 300-pound Troy Godwin.
6'6", but he certainly takes up a lot of room in there. And there's Jamal Levy again. This time he's going to fall out of bounds.
VCU has won 8 consecutive games, 23-7 overall record, and the champions of the Colonial Athletic Association. Pellarosa with the miss. Rebound by Levy, his second rebound.
Demon Deacons of Wake Forest, the nation's #2 scoring team, and that's one of the reasons why. They really like to get it up the court quickly, and in Chris Paul, they have a point guard who can finish plays. Wake with the pressure. They really want VCU to play this game at an up-tempo pace.
Domonic Jones from Chesterfield, Virginia. Picked up by Strickland.
And Strickland, a change in the starting lineup today. Usually Wake goes, or at least recently they've been going with Vitas Danilus, but they really like Strickland's ability to guard. I think he's a better matchup against Jones.
Pellarosa. Levy with his 3rd rebound. And the ACC Rookie of the Year, Chris Paul, takes it in. And a foul against B.A. Walker.
And we talked about the fact that Trent Strickland's starting to guard this guy, Domonic Jones, the player of the year in the CAA, also the tournament MVP for Coach Jeff Capel. Domonic Jones, a guy who can get to the basket very well. He's an excellent three-point shooter. Overall, Virginia Commonwealth shoots better than 47% from the field. They're in a zone defense on the out-of-bounds play.
Levy. Rebound by Williams, grinding his way up, and he was fouled on the play as he went in. And Jesse Pellarosa picks up his first foul.
A lot of talk about Wake Forest and their ability to put points on the board, and every time you have a team that scores a lot, the point guard certainly has something to do with that. Paul can not only pass the ball, he can shoot it from the perimeter, he can penetrate inside, and he's a very, very good on-the-ball defender. This kid is very highly touted coming into Wake Forest, and he has not disappointed anybody.
Eric Williams at the free throw line, and he had one of his best games of the season when it mattered the most against Duke, 16 points and 11 rebounds earlier this season.
Big, strong kid on the inside. If Williams has an Achilles heel, it's the fact that he still doesn't pass the ball very well out of the post. Generally, when he gets it, it's going up to the goal.
There's Jones, and he is picked up by Strickland, who picks up a foul.
Strickland doing a nice job putting pressure on Kevin, but that's a perfect example. You talk about offensive patience where you really need to have some defensive patience. Did a good job, but reached in.
Wake Forest finishing in third place in the ACC. Virginia Commonwealth winning the Colonial Athletic Association Championship. VCU with the ball. B.A. Walker.
And a man for Wake.
Domonic Jones taken away by Levy, who's been all over the glass to begin the game, and outlets to Paul. He slithers inside, and Williams cleans the glass and is fouled as he goes out.
Eric Williams upset with himself that he missed that shot, but wow, what quickness does Chris Paul possess? Gets down the lane. Jeff Capel, you can see a furrowed look on that brow right there. Paul just right down the lane. Godwin has to come and help, so therefore Godwin's not available to block out Eric Williams, and that's a basket that he would really like to have.
Well, he was Rookie of the Year, as we told you before, was Chris Paul for the Demon Deacons. And when you think that this conference also contains, this ACC conference also contains Luol Deng at Duke, then you can see how good Paul is.
Paul doing what he does best there. He almost got that steal, got called for the kick, but he has great quickness and great anticipation when he's guarding the ball.
And a look at Wake Forest. They've lost 3 consecutive games coming into this tournament.
They've lost 3 consecutive games, but they've been playing 3 pretty good teams. The funny thing about the NCAA tournament, here's Wake Forest from the powerhouse league, the ACC, as that ball is an air ball. 3,900 students. When we showed you the Richmond profile, the University of Richmond, 26,000 students.
Right.
I'm sorry, Virginia Commonwealth, excuse me. Wake Forest is Virginia Commonwealth is from the city of Richmond. There's Paul. I won't make that mistake more than once today.
Levy and Williams. Nice getting that ball inside.
Williams is a very effective player on the inside. Nice little jump hook, usually with his back to the basket. Wake Forest, a small private university, Virginia Commonwealth, a state school in Virginia.
Domonic Jones with the miss as he takes it in. Paul, free at the other end. What a pass by the sensational freshman Chris Paul.
Got to get back. Wake Forest averages almost 84 points a game.
Wake Forest on an 8-0 run. VCU's Michael Doles just went inside with a layup. He was fouled on the play. Brady picked up his first for Wake Forest. And he completes the 3-point play, which gives Wake now just a 2-point lead. And here comes Chris Paul for the Demon Deacons.
And Doles not a starter for the Rams, but that's his job to come off the bench and provide that spark. He's a very difficult matchup, particularly at 6'6", Wake Forest with 3 smaller guards in the game. Somebody's going to have to match up against Doles, and Doles took advantage of his size and scored the 3-point play.
Wake Forest has started 4 of 9. Williams from Levy.
Williams big and strong, 6'9", playing against the 6'6" Troy Godwin on the inside.
Williams, the leading scorer, he's got 6 points. Here comes VCU, 3 of 9, and a turnover.
We've talked about Eric Williams, about 6'9". They list him at 275 pounds. Now here's Troy Godwin. They list him at 300 pounds, but that's just a great job getting position. Nice pass inside by Jamal Levitt. It's his mom, Deborah. Deborah once had more than 30 rebounds in a college basketball game in which she participated, and she has challenged her son. Actually told him that he would never get that many rebounds in a basketball game. They had a little bet going.
Nice pass from Williams to Levy. That's a big man with a soft pass.
And Wake Forest really utilizing Levy at 6'9" and Williams at 6'9" very effectively inside against the smaller Rams.
That's a turnover. Paul got the trigger from Levy and floats. Rebound.
Oh, he tipped it away.
And Downey, Teron Downey in the game for the first time, saved by Paul and claimed by Downey. And he's open for three. Oh, what a sequence. And Wake Forest has their biggest lead on a 7-0 run.
Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, Seth Davis in New York. Wake with a 17-8 lead on VCU. We'll get you back shortly. First of all, in Seattle, Southern Illinois and Alabama, the Crimson Tide with a 31-22 lead. Seth, the story of this game.
Well, Southern Illinois normally a good defensive team, though. Alabama's Kennedy Winston just going off on this game. SIU really needs to lock down their shooters to get back in it.
Well, when you look at Alabama, they've got Kennedy Winston, who's a terrific scorer. Not only can he shoot it from deep, but he can beat you off the dribble, and he's taking advantage of the pressure defense and also a size advantage. He's a little bigger than the perimeter defenders for Southern Illinois.
SIU is a 9 seed, Alabama the number 8 seed, and the winner of this game gets the winner of top seed Stanford against 16th seed Texas San Antonio, and things going all Alabama's way as they're inside 2 minutes to play in the first half. Meanwhile, in Buffalo, Liberty and St. Joe's in a timeout. The Hawks with a 14-6 lead, and they were led out of the locker room and onto the floor by Jameer Nelson.
By their captain and player of the year in the country, Jameer Nelson. The defensive pressure and intensity has been very impressive, and what I expected from St. Joe's on the heels of that loss to Xavier a week ago.
All right, guys, we'll keep track of that and other games for you. Meanwhile, let's get you back to Raleigh, North Carolina. Kevin Harlan and Dan Bonner.
11-point lead now for Wake Forest. An outside shot by Domonic Jones. Out of bounds, and VCU will bring it back in. 13-21, make it 13-12 to play in the first half.
Wake Forest has done a really nice job in transition. The little pick and roll that's very difficult to defend, particularly at the end of the fast break. Nice job getting the ball to Williams for the easy opportunity. Wake Forest has dominated the inside. The taller Demon Deacons have scored 10 points on the inside to only 4 for VCU. Wake Forest with a 7-0 advantage in second chance points.
+6 in rebounding as well. They go inside, and Jones gets 2. Vitas Danilus is in now for Wake Forest.
Well, what a smart play by Paul. That ball bounced up very, very high, and I think had he tried to continue to dribble, he may have been called for a palming violation, so he just picked up the ball, passed it, and then got it back.
Take that back. Danilus was set to check in. Oh, he's in there. There he is. Okay, fighting for the rebound, but it was grabbed by Troy Godwin.
Danilus is in the game for Levy. Let's see if he can do the same kind of job. He steps in and draws the charge. You know, you're talking an awful lot about guys in their class. This is a freshman right here. The ball knocked away from him. Watch now as he picks the ball, goes up, and then he's afraid he's going to get a palming violation called. So all he does is grab the ball, and it's not a palm unless you dribble it again. So I don't know that you're allowed to dribble the ball high. A high dribble is not a palming violation, but he was being careful and also being very intelligent. VCU in a zone defense now.
Eric Williams, the leading scorer, 8 points for Wake Forest. Teron Downey.
They really haven't been able to handle the Wake inside game, but with the zone, they're able to get a lot of defenders around Eric Williams.
Little tie-up inside. Alexander Harper. Alex Harper has come in for VCU. Quick inbound to Downey, who draws the foul out of that interior, and it may have been Troy Godwin who pushed him.
Godwin is a guy that VCU cannot afford to have in foul trouble. They just don't have anyone else who can provide the presence both offensively and defensively down in the post.
Derek Reed picks it up for VCU. And Teron Downey is at the line. Well, he's a tough kid. He had a little operation earlier in the season and came back to play.
Teron Downey had an appendectomy, if you can believe that, and 8 days later, Teron Downey played.
Alex Harper against Gray.
Wake in the man-to-man.
Going inside, Godwin Nice, get it up.
Nice help by Danilus. Here's Wake off and running again.
Great. It's a nice looking outside shot by Domonic Jones, who is the Colonial Athletic Association regular season most valuable player. Danilus.
Well, Wake Forest, the last couple times, they like to run up and down in transition, but they have been dominant on the inside. They don't want to just settle for that outside shot.
Drive and a foul.
The pace of the game right at the moment is really a pace with which Wake Forest is very comfortable.
Welcome back to Raleigh. Wake Forest up 8 over VCU. VCU's head coach, Jeff Capel, actually began his D1 basketball career at Wake Forest. His father was an assistant there, and he was the ball boy. Just take a look at this 1987 media guide featuring the 11-year-old Capel with Muggsy Bogues.
And now he is the youngest Division I coach in the country. 29 years of age. 7 years ago, Capel was playing in the NCAA tournament with Duke. Visser was trying to defend, and the basket goes to Reed.
Derek Reed got the basket. Wake Forest, they have had problems defensively. Their opponents shoot almost 45% from the floor, and VCU, they looked like they were back on their heels, but now they're back to within 6.
Ron Downey.
Kevin, just to finish that story with that 1986-87 Wake Forest media guide, sitting next to Jeff Capel on the bench over there is Mark Klein, who played on that 1986-87 Wake Forest team.
Kyle Visser tried to go inside. That is a turnover. Visser is a freshman from Grand Rapids, Michigan for the Demon Deacons. Now they'll bring it up with Alex Harper.
Turnover is also a problem for the Deeks this year. Of course, when you run up and down, you're going to throw the ball away some, but Wake Forest, they really have problems on the defensive end. And right now, VCU getting some open shots and knocking them down. Jones again.
Domonic Jones, the former Richmond, Virginia High School Player of the Year. Three-point shooting, VCU has gone 3 of 5. The Demon Deacons have gone 1 of 4.
Early in the game, Wake Forest's advantage was on the inside, and this VCU zone has cut that off just a little bit.
Levy. Downey is open for 3. And Levy with his 6th rebound. And Visser cleans it up. And controlling the offensive glass big. As Gray realigns. Danilus has it torn away by Michael Doles, and VCU comes with the ball.
Shot selection not very good right at the moment for Wake Forest, and that's one of the things that has allowed VCU to climb back into this game.
Reed finds Jones. Domonic Jones. Wake Forest was up by 11, and now Virginia Commonwealth has climbed back to within a point on a 12-2 run. The basket there by Reed. He's got 4 coming off the bench.
Reed has done a nice job coming off the bench for VCU there. They stay in the zone defense. I think Danilus got hit. I think he and Reed may have butted heads as Reed was going up for that last basket. This is a Wake Forest team that seemed to be in complete control of this basketball game, but they stopped doing what got them in control, and that is taking the ball inside. Eric Williams on the bench for a breather, and VCU was able to seize control of there to get control back of the game. They went to that zone defense. They've cut off the Wake Forest inside game, and the Demon Deacons have not been able to hit from the perimeter.
VCU with Harper and Domonic Jones on the floor.
And here's what happened. He had the ball and just got raked across the face by Harper.
Harper and Jones in the backcourt. They've got Godwin in the middle. Derek Reed on one side and Michael Doles on the other. The 5 for the VCU Rams. Teron Downey with it to Gray, to Paul, and back to Justin Gray, the number 3 scorer in the ACC.
Now, Wake Forest, a very effective team shooting the ball from beyond the three-point arc. They make 38% from out there. Made 214 on the season, so they can shoot it from out there.
Williams and Levy round out the Demon Deacon 5 on the floor. That sets the lineup a little more than halfway through the first half. Jones and room to shoot over Downey. Rebound, Godwin inhales the ball and puts it back up and in and draws the foul.
Godwin is only 6'6", which is not really very tall, but he weighs, they list him at 300 pounds, although he claims that he's closer to 285, but whatever. What a great job he does. You know, it doesn't matter that you're 275-pound Eric Williams. When Troy Godwin gets you on his back, you're staying there. And Godwin has a great job grabbing that ball and sticking it back up in the goal. Good hands and good feet for the big guy.
Eric Williams with his first foul. Tracy, what do you have?
Actually, Godwin at one point weighed 327 pounds. He got it down to about 280 this year. How'd he do it? Here it is. He's running and working out in the gym. He cut out the triple cheeseburgers and the large fries. Obviously, he's eating better meals. He says the right stuff, and he's been practicing and keeping busy. Forget that South Beach diet. Godwin's onto something here.
No cheeseburgers and you play basketball. That's okay. There we go. The Troy Godwin diet.
Turnovers in this game, 5 for VCU, 1 turnover for Wake Forest, only 1. Downey lasers it inside. Williams. They got those 3 guards in right now. Paul, Justin Gray for 3, and Levy tried to get it. VCU brings it the other way.
Somebody needs to tell Gray you don't get any more points for moving way out there.
He is way out there.
Good heavens, was he a long way from the basket.
Nice steal by Levy, who has been all over the floor for Wake Forest. 4 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a nice basket inside.
And that's Chris Paul, and Wake's offense sagged a little bit when he was out of the game. When he's in there, he really gets that transition game going. VCU needs to do a better job getting back on defense and forcing the Deacons to play against the set defense.
1 tie, 1 lead change in this game. There's a foul on Wake.
It's going to be against Teron Downey, and that's a matchup we talked about before. Doles at 6'7" in the game is a tough matchup for
Greg
Downey.
Dumble, Clark Kellogg, Seth Davis in New York. We'll get you back to Virginia Commonwealth and Wake Forest in just a bit after we check in first in Buffalo, where St. Joe's is leading Liberty 27-10. The tendency is to say St. Joe's is on a run. They've been on a run ever since they hit the court.
They certainly have been. If you're sloppy with the ball, as Liberty has been, St. John's will turn your sloppiness into sloppy Joes at the other end. Good eating. They've scored 11 points off of those 9 turnovers for Liberty.
And Clark, they came in mad. Let's not forget. I expect them to keep this up for 40 minutes. Of course, Liberty gave North Carolina a scare about 10 years ago as a 16 seed. Not yet happening today, though.
Well, St. Joe's is dictating all of that, I think, with their defensive pressure.
I want to know if you guys expected much out of Liberty in this game anyway.
I thought they would be a comfortable matchup. This would be a comfortable matchup for them because they are a perimeter-oriented team. But again, when you don't take care of the ball against the kind of defense that St. Joe's plays, then you're going to have trouble.
All right, guys. Meanwhile, in Denver, BYU and Syracuse are underway, and BYU with a 2-point lead on the defending national champs.
One of the better shooting teams in the tournament, Greg, both from the floor and from the 3-point line. And if they can make shots against the Syracuse zone, look for this game to stay tight throughout.
Obviously, Araujo, the big guy for BYU, and Bigelow, that's their advantage inside. Syracuse has had problems scoring all year. They're going to want to keep this game slow and ugly. That way they stay competitive.
All right, guys, we'll keep track of those games and others for you, but time to get you back to Raleigh and rejoin Kevin Harlan and Dan Bonner.
Wake Forest is led by as many as 11 points, up now by 4. VCU and Wake Forest have been tied once, and they've had a lead change in the game.
Wake Forest got out to the lead with some pretty good transition basketball early in the game, but the zone defense employed by the Rams has slowed the Deeks down.
Nick George, Godwin, walking. They go inside, Michael Doles. Eric Williams trying to get it. Levy playing twister on the floor with Godwin, and there is a contorted shot which rolls in by Michael Doles.
And Jamal Levy is hurt.
And Levy, I think, has been indispensable today because he's played so many different things so well. Rebounding, scoring, passing, and defending.
And you were really right about the twister. Here's Doles gets the shot off, and as Levy goes to scramble for the ball, I think he's going to get his ankle tied up underneath the body of Troy Godwin. We mentioned Godwin, 280, 285 pounds, so it's an awful lot of weight rolling over on that ankle.
Danilus and Strickland will check in the game for the Demon Deacons.
And this is a game that has seen VCU, there's Levy's numbers, 4.6 rebounds, but the Rams have turned the ball over 7 times, and despite that, they're only down in the game by 2.
One in the game with more than 2 personal fouls as they go to Strickland, who started. Ball was jarred free. Michael Doles places it inside. Nick George couldn't slam. Eric Williams came across him and picks up the foul for Wake Forest. It is the second on Williams.
And you have to say that VCU has really been an opportunistic team here in the last few minutes. A bad shot by Wake Forest. Nick George gets out running on the break. The Deacons don't get down the court quickly. And when you're in sort of an up-tempo game, and that's what we've had a lot here in the first half, if you take a bad shot, it allows the opposition a chance to get out and get an easy win. And Nick George at the line converts the free throw on the end of a very nice transition play by VCU.
Now Chris Ellis comes in. He is a 6'9" sophomore from Marietta, Georgia. And Nick George hits the second free throw shooting. Virginia Commonwealth 2 of 3, now 3 of 4. And the Demon Deacons 4 of 6. We've got a tie game for the second time today. Wednesday is a special night for Survivor. What happens when the All-Stars don't know the camera's running? Survivor All-Stars on a special night Wednesday, 8, 7 Central on CBS. America's most watched network with Dan Bonner and Tracy Wolfson, Kevin Harlan in Raleigh, North Carolina. Gray and Paul with Danilus up front. They've just brought in Chris Ellis. And they've also got Trent Strickland in the game. That's the Demon Deacon 5 on the floor. Paul floats and hits.
Boy, Paul has really been a factor for Wake Forest with his ability to get into the lane. And Chris Ellis is in the ball game because Eric Williams, who was dominant inside early, is now out of the game with 2 fouls. Williams tends to be foul prone. He's fouled out of 5 games this year.
And here comes Domonic Jones. And a foul called on Jones, who tried to muscle his way. That is the first on him. He's out there with Doles and Godwin. Nick George on the floor and B.A. Walker. That sets the lineup for both teams with 5 minutes to play in the first half. Here comes Wake Forest, and they're shooting 44% from the field for the game. Strickland through traffic with the fake and the 2.
Nice job to get inside that zone, and both times it's not necessarily throwing it to some big guy with his back to the basket. Last time it was Chris Paul penetrating through the zone, and that time it was Trent Strickland catching it about 15 feet away and taking it to the goal.
VCU has shot 50% from the field. Godwin with a corkscrew move and picked up by Trent Strickland. Nice feed to Danilus. Slammed in, will not count. Ball is in the cylinder. Wipe it away.
Vitas Danilus missing it, and that ball's just barely in the cylinder. And of course, it's hard to time if you're Chris Ellis running the court.
Still looking to get word on Jamal Levy. Looks like he's been taken in the locker room. VCU 7 assists and 8 turnovers so far in the game. Doles. He's come off. He nails a 2-pointer right there. 5, make it 7 points for him. And a beautiful alley-oop going high. Trent Strickland coming down hard.
That is where VCU has really struggled. When Wake has been able to get out in transition, they are capable of some spectacular plays. And that was the most spectacular we've seen so far.
Godwin on the perimeter, ball knocked away by Justin Gray. Wake Forest 8 assists and 2 turnovers. They've been very efficient this afternoon. VCU shooting 50% from the field. They were down by 11. They came back to tie.
They did, and one of the problems we talked about with Wake Forest is they have been weak defensively all season long, and VCU's exploiting those weaknesses. They're shooting the ball very well, but they're getting very good shots.
Wake Forest has had an injury. Jamal Levy. Let's go to Tracy Wolfson.
You guys were right. Levy was taken into the locker room. He was in a lot of pain. The preliminary report is that he has a twisted left knee. They are re-examining him now and deciding whether an x-ray is necessary. I'll keep you guys updated.
And he was one of the best rebounders and defenders in the entire Atlantic Coast Conference.
And a twisted knee. I thought for a moment it was the ankle, and you know, the ankle, you can tape that baby up and maybe come back, but a knee, that's an entirely different story.
Doles. And Domonic Jones nails the shot, and Jones is the first player in double figures in this game with 10.
And you just get the impression that VCU, you can see their confidence rising as they stay in this game with Wake Forest. And Wake Forest needs to get some better shots.
VCU, oh, what a spin move by Doles, but he can't complete the play. Wake Forest is +3 in rebounding, +3 for the game. Doles, Domonic Jones, knocked away by Ellison, a travel inside on Jones.
For the last couple of possessions, the pace really being played the way Wake Forest likes to play, but Jeff Capel's squad doing a nice job of competing against Wake Forest in the style of the Demon Deacons choosing. Now they're going to be able to drop back into that zone, which has been so very effective.
Game's leading scorer in the locker room looking at an injury. That's Jamal Levy. It's Ellis who spun, had the shot deflected and out of bounds.
And for Wake Forest, what you're talking about, Kevin, is Jamal Levy is in the locker room with the injury. Eric Williams is on the bench in foul trouble. So the two principal big guys, the two main weapons on the inside for Wake Forest, out of the game right now. And the Rams of VCU have done a nice job taking advantage of that situation.
They've been fairly efficient on offense. VCU 8 assists and 12 made field goals for the game. Nice move by Alexander Harper.
Well, that's just too easy. You get into the lane, one fake, and just roll the ball over the net, over the rim, excuse me.
Wake Forest with 8 assists and 13 made field goals in the game.
And the longer the Rams hang around, the more they feel like they've got every right to be here and can actually win the game.
We're talking about confidence.
Absolutely.
Domonic Jones.
Oh, what a move!
Look at him slide inside. Counted for 2 and a foul. And VCU has their second lead of the ball game.
That was an outstanding move in transition. The hesitation off the dribble. Watch his head fake, and now it goes right around Strickland. Takes the ball with the head fake. Coming down, goes right around Strickland, who he gave a head fake and basically nailed him to the floor, and then went right around to the goal. Wow.
Well, he started the game, Dan, 0 of 4. He has gone 5 of 5 since then. We're down to the final 90 seconds of the first half as you see the shooting for both teams.
Plenty of easy opportunities for VCU. And Wake Forest has not been able to get the ball, get those easy opportunities, particularly getting it inside.
Chris Paul 3 of 5. Strickland has come off the bench, although he started the game, but just moments ago came off the bench. He's given him energy and some defense.
And did a nice job inside that time. Good penetration, finds the open guy inside.
And he's got 6. We're down to a minute remaining in the first half. Harper. Doles. A foul offensively on Doles.
Well, Doles picked up the foul that time, but I think he has really been a key for VCU in this game. At 6'6", he plays in the backcourt. Wake Forest plays those 3 small guards, all of them right about 6 feet, 6'1", and Doles has taken advantage of his 5-inch height advantage and been able to operate very effectively.
Wake Forest is the second highest scoring team in college basketball. In back of number 1, Arizona. 83 points a game for the Demon Deacons this season.
And early in the game, they were on that kind of a pace, but VCU went to the zone and really disrupted things. Now the Rams back to man-to-man.
Good point, Gray. Jones on him. Chris Paul. And a rebound inside by Nick George. They can take it the length of the half now. VCU leading by 1. They've led by 3. Wake Forest led by 11 midway through the first half. George. And a foul. And it goes on Trent Strickland. And Strickland picks up his third. Greg Gumbel and Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis all standing by at our CBS studios with the singular at the half. Scores, tournament news, look-ins around the country, and the singular trivia challenge. All coming up next here on CBS. Nick George from Manchester, England. Came to the U.S. as an exchange student, played high school in Rockville, Maryland.
And you don't think of England as a hotbed of basketball prospects.
It's the first as George, and he is a 57% free throw shooter.
Of course, VCU as a team shoots it very poorly from the line, but they've done very well today. They've now made 5 of 6 from 6 of 7, excuse me, from the free throw line, and they're a 60% shooting team.
VCU has equaled their biggest lead of the game. Out of bounds it goes with some great tough defense by Jesse Pelarosa.
Pelarosa knocks the ball away, and then Gray hits it before it goes out of bounds, and Wake really has struggled on the offense for the last 10 minutes of the half. It looked like they were going to run away with this thing. The score was 21-10, and VCU really looked like they were out of it, but the Rams responded very nicely.
Final second, and Biddeford goes, and it's missed by Alexander Harper. What a turnaround in the first half. A 14-point turnaround in the game. VCU on top, 37-34 over the fourth-seeded Demon Deacons of Wake Forest from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Virginia Commonwealth from the Colonial Athletic Association. VCU in their first tournament appearance since 1996. Wake Forest in their fourth straight NCAA tournament show. Let's go to Tracy Wolfson.
Thanks, Coach. A slow start, but you turned it around. What adjustments did you make?
We went to a zone. We did a better job getting out on the shooters. We started rebounding the basketball, and then we started making some shots. Anytime you make shots, it certainly helps. I think our guys were a little bit in awe, a little bit nervous first, but then we relaxed and we started playing our game.
Thanks a lot, and good luck in the second half. Back to you guys.
Welcome once again to Singular at the Half, everyone. Greg Gumbel in our studios in New York, along with Clark Kellogg, Seth Davis.
Don't mix us up.
At halftime.
First day.
I'm trying hard. Virginia Commonwealth with a 3-point lead at halftime over the fourth seed Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Do we have another upset brewing here?
It certainly could happen because of Virginia Commonwealth continuing to gain confidence as they play. They're a good three-point shooting team. They've got a good inside presence in Troy Godwin. They're playing really well right now, and Wake is rattled a little bit, I think.
I think they certainly got rattled when Levy went out. They committed 5 turnovers the last few minutes down the stretch. I know Wake likes to run, but I think that Chris Paul sometime needs to have better decisions as to when to pull it out, run their half court, give the big guys their touches.
He is only a freshman, partner.
Well, he's growing up today, real quick.
Virginia Commonwealth, number 13 on top of Wake Forest, number 4, 37-34. Moments ago, our Tracy Wolfson caught up with Wake coach Skip Prosser.
Coach, with Jamal Levy's return questionable and two of your guys in foul trouble, what changes will you make?
Well, I think we're going to have to maybe change it. You know, early in the game, we had a tempo going our way, really pushing the basketball, had it well. Again, our up-tempo game, and I thought VCU did a good job of slowing things down. The zone, I think, stymied us a little bit. We have to do a better job attacking the zone.
Good luck in the second half.
With Dan Bonner and Tracy Wolfson, Kevin Harlan, East Rutherford bracket, first-round games in Raleigh, North Carolina. VCU down by 11, leading as we go to the second half by 3.
VCU did a very nice job recovering from that 11-point deficit. They switched to the zone defense, which slowed Wake Forest down a little bit, and they've also made some shots. Gotten good shot opportunities and converted them.
Pelarosa for 3. Rebound by Levy, and he is back in the game.
The knee hurts, but he's going to give it a go.
Gray with a uncontested shot right through the VCU defense.
I think you're going to see Wake Forest try to do that. Get the ball off the board and push it up the court. Man-to-man for the Demon Deacons.
Walker Jones, George, that's a pickoff. And Gray will sail in for 2.
Not the way Jeff Capel and VCU wanted to start the second half.
So here comes Walker with George, Pelarosa, Godwin on top.
Chris Paul matched up against Domonic Jones on this particular possession.
Jones, the last of those second half starters for VCU. Paul, Eric Williams, Levy, Gray, along with Teron Downey, the Wake Forest 5 to start the second half. Rejected inside by Godwin.
Not a very good decision that time by Chris Paul. This time, Justin Gray, though, taking the ball hard to the basket, slicing right through that VCU defense.
Wake Forest finished in 3rd place in the ACC. Pelarosa tried to save it and bounces out of bounds. Virginia Commonwealth, the Colonial Athletic Association champion.
And you see the big key to the first half right there, the VCU shooting percentage. Wake Forest, we mentioned a couple of times, they have struggled defensively, particularly down the stretch this season. Can't give up that kind of shooting percentage. Teams in this tournament just too good.
Chris Paul.
Zone defense.
Over Walker for 3. Rebound, Eric Williams playing with 2 fouls. He was in a straitjacket and he got it to go.
You can see the value of Eric Williams. He picked up those 2 fouls with about 8 minutes to go in the first half, and that's when VCU made a lot of headway against the Deacons. Important that Williams stay in the game.
6-0 start for Wake Forest. George, right across the shooting hand. You can see it. Very clear, very evident.
Eric Williams, a very powerful rebounder on the inside. That time just takes the ball right away. A long rebound, and so he's able to get it up over top of Troy Godwin and knock it in the basket. You know, interestingly enough, Wake Forest has come out here in the second half in a trick defense. They're playing a triangle in 2. They are guarding B.A. Walker and Domonic Jones, and they've got 3 guys playing zone.
Eric Williams now with 3 fouls for Wake Forest, as Nick George is at the free throw line.
And I believe that Wake Forest is doing that just to try to change the tempo of the game. VCU was pretty comfortable on the offensive end, and Wake looking to do something to change that comfort zone.
With Eric Williams in there, Wake Forest +8. With him gone, -7.
VCU drops back into the zone.
Paul, Gray, Downey, 3 guards, and now it's Chris Paul. Shot clock is at 10. Oh, nice steal by George, or attempted deflection. Shot clock at 8.
George playing pretty good defense, trying to help referee the game too. Very versatile guy.
Doing it all. Eight seconds on the shot clock. Now Paul back to Gray, who's doubled.
Great block out. Great block out on the inside.
By Godwin, and Pelarosa the other way. Knocked away by Eric Williams with the deflection. Gray sailing, Pelarosa defending.
Pretty good D by the referee there.
It was. Good screen. They got Paul stripped of the ball. 3-on-1. Jones and off. And VCU by 1 again.
VCU once again showing that they are not uncomfortable playing the up-tempo style. You generate those turnovers, the result is easy baskets.
Levy tried to slide it inside to Eric Williams. Pelarosa picks it up. Then Walker, the freshman, outside George for 3. Offensive rebound, Pelarosa. Back to Walker. Launches the 3. And VCU is on top by 4. And this is their biggest lead this afternoon.
That was just a really tough-minded play by Jesse Pelarosa, going in there, sticking his nose in there, getting the ball.
That's why shot by Downey wouldn't go. Foul on the putback.
VCU doing a nice job on the defensive end, creating the turnover. Domonic Jones, those 13 points in the first half, a great pass and nice catch by Nick George on the fast break. And then on the offensive boards, Jesse Pelarosa just strips the ball away from Chris Paul and then is able to maintain his balance as B.A. Walker, an outstanding three-point shooter, knocks it down.
Godwin picked up his second foul. Nick George launching a three. Levy with another rebound for Wake Forest. He's got 8.
Much too much dribbling.
Walker. George comes down and comes down hard with Paul on the floor. It looked like he came straight onto his knee, and he's got a bad left knee coming into the game anyway. As he hobbles away. It's getting physical. Number 4 seed Wake Forest from the ACC, 13th seeded Virginia Commonwealth.
Greg Gumbel in New York, under a minute to play in Seattle, SIU and Alabama. Let's listen in.
Matt Painter takes a timeout. So Lukey's will have the ball when we come back to Seattle.
All right, so they've gone to timeout. Alabama with a 1-point lead. We'll get you back there to find out what happens. Let's get you back to Raleigh. Kevin and Dan.
A deceptive move by the defending Domonic Jones of VCU.
Well, the problem for Wake is that they really haven't gotten that many shots this half. They've been turning the ball over.
VCU for the game, 47% from the field.
What a catch inside.
Godwin can't hit. Here comes Wake Forest. They're shooting 44% from the field for the game. Paul floats one up, and a beauty it was. He's gone 4 of 10. He's got 8 points.
Just when you think he is forcing a play, he makes a marvelous play. That was a tough opportunity. I think that's one where Skip Prosser scratches his head a little bit if he misses that shot, but that's how you keep your coach happy. You make them.
Pelarosa hits a 3.
We'll get you back to Raleigh. Meanwhile, back in Seattle, coming out of a timeout, Alabama by 1. Iron Eagle, Jim Spinarkle, take it away.
What we have right now, a 1-point game with 31 seconds left here at Key Arena in Seattle. Southern Illinois with the ball, trailing Alabama.
Now, see, one of the things I'd be concerned with, if I was Southern Illinois, I'd be Matt Painter really focusing on guys. Let's make sure we don't waste too much time. Let's get something going. Obviously, Brooks is the player you want to focus on from an offensive standpoint. The problem, though, is get it going to the basket.
3-second differential. Shot clock to game clock. Here's Korn on the outside.
The longer they wait, the more important it is to make the shot because your percentages go out the window.
Out of bounds off of Alabama with 15 seconds remaining on the shot clock. And Matt Painter barking out instructions to his Southern Illinois team, trailing by 1. First round action in the Phoenix bracket. Brooks, the duck in, leaner, got it! 13.4 remaining. Southern Illinois up by 1. Frantic finish here in Seattle. Alabama looking for the win. Petway, 5 seconds. Oh! It's good! Antoine Petway gives Alabama the lead with 5 seconds left in regulation.
Wow, 2 huge step-up drives to the hoop. Unbelievable.
We'll come back for the finish. The senior Antoine Petway for Alabama has given the Crimson Tide a 1-point lead with 5 seconds left.
Foul to give if you need it. You get in trouble now if you're Alabama. Plenty of time to get it up the court with a couple of 3 or 4 dribbles.
And there's the foul at midcourt.
The fans are going to go nuts right now, but it's not going to be significant.
Mark Gottfried was all over it during that timeout. And now Southern Illinois with just 2.8 left on the clock.
And you talk about dipsy-do shots. Brooks coming across with a beautiful step across to give the Salukis a temporary lead.
What a way to open a day here in Seattle. First of 4 games with Alabama in front, 65-64. 2.8 on the clock. Southern Illinois. Brooks gets a shot off for the win. No good! Alabama holds on to advance here in Seattle. 65-64 over Southern.
Trent Strickland just had an acrobatic layup inside. That came after a 3 by Doles of VCU. 52-51, the Rams.
We're going to get Visser called for a foul on the inside. VCU continues to be very aggressive. They're playing very hard on the defensive end of the court, and they've carried that aggressiveness over to the offensive end of the court. Very sharp cuts, very good screens. With Capel looking forward to a match against Manhattan, possibly. Doles again.
He's hit 2 threes since coming off the bench moments ago. 13 points for VCU. And Visser inside, tangling with Derek Reed, and a foul on Reed. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, it'll be on Reed. He's got 3, and he is the 3rd Ram with 3 fouls. Jones and Godwin each have 3 themselves.
And Chris Paul that time does a really nice job finding Visser inside. Not enough pressure on the ball in that situation. They gave Visser time to get open, but Chris Paul found him the moment that he was open, and that's such a great talent to be able to pass the ball inside to a big guy at the optimum opportunity.
Wake Forest from the free throw line has gone 6 of 10. Virginia Commonwealth 8 of 9.
And Virginia Commonwealth overall the poor free throw shooting team, but Visser only shoots about 55% from the line. So if you're VCU, this is the Wake Forest guy you want to have on the line.
Missing again, Harper with the rebound. Doles has 13. Domonic Jones has 13 for VCU. George with the miss. It's 4th-seeded Wake Forest, the 3rd-place team in the ACC against the 13th seed Virginia Commonwealth Rams. Winners of the Colonial Athletic Association Championship. Visser puts in his 4th. VCU has led by as many as 4 in this game. Wake Forest had an 11-point lead early. At halftime, VCU led by 3.
And VCU is a team that just has continued to make plays. There's a turnover, one of the few they've had in the second half. They just refuse to go away. An outstanding job thus far by the Rams. They lead it by 2.
Wake Forest is college basketball's 2nd highest scoring team. They trail by 2. What stands out as you take a look at those numbers?
Well, as we take a look at those numbers, Kevin, I think the main thing that stands out is VCU getting great production off their bench. Doles, the leading scorer with 13 points, is coming off the bench. And the Rams have made 7 of 13 three-point field goals. We knew they were a good three-point shooting team, but they have really kept Wake Forest at bay with their three-point shooting. It seems every time they need a big basket, the Rams have been able to convert a 3.
VCU led by the youngest Division I coach in the country, 29-year-old Jeff Capel. A player at Duke for Mike Krzyzewski, who he tells us he talks to a lot. Chris Paul, the sensational freshman, to Eric Williams, and the foul.
Well, that is a tough foul. I think that was Harper maybe who reached in at. If you're going to reach, you better reach with both arms against Eric Williams. Again, Chris Paul finding Eric Williams cutting to the basket, and Doles reaches in. Just going to have to get a better swipe than that because Williams is such a big, strong guy. Excellent job by Chris Paul finding his teammate inside.
Wake Forest coming into today had lost 3 consecutive games. VCU has won 8 straight games, entering this first round in the East Rutherford Regional. Walker off to Pelarosa. To Doles off the bench with 13. Nick George. Rebound once again by Levy, and he has collected 9. Gray for 3. Knocked away. Retrieved by George. Eric Williams getting in the fray and knocked out of bounds. Tracy, what do you have?
Well, as you mentioned, Capel actually still speaks to Krzyzewski all the time, and he asked for advice coming into this NCAA tournament. Capel said Krzyzewski gave him coaching advice. He didn't scout Wake Forest for him, but he did give him coaching advice on what to expect, how to deal with referees, and stuff like that.
B.A. Walker, a freshman, against the freshman point guard for Wake Forest, Chris Paul.
Let me figure Coach K told Jeff Capel about dealing with referees. Just yell at him.
maybe one of the many things he said. Reed, Walker, and Jones. Jones off the bench with a game-high 15 points for Virginia Commonwealth. And a great dive right there by Derek Reed playing the D for the Rams.
But he's going to pick up the foul. Very physical defense applied to Chris Paul. That's one of those situations where there's a lot of contact, but as long as Paul is able to maintain possession of the ball, the referee feeling there was no advantage gained. But in the situation where Reed goes down and Paul goes down and the ball goes out of bounds, you got to call something.
Reed's got 4 fouls as Paul fans on the free throw. Chris Paul now from the stripe, 2 of 3. 10 points. The 12 points of Gray and Eric Williams lead the Demon Deacons.
And the Deacons leaving some points at the free throw line here early in the second half.
6 of 13 for the game. Nick George nails a 3-point shot.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. VCU, when they need a basket, they've been able to get it in this game. And Wake Forest struggling on the offensive end.
VCU has their biggest lead this afternoon, 60 to 55.
And now the Rams elect to go back to that zone defense, and Wake Forest struggled against the zone in the first half.
Chris Paul, the ACC Freshman of the Year, and a little touch foul right there. Goes on Domonic Jones. Folks, make sure you vote for your starting center on the Pontiac all-time tournament team. You can cast your ballot now at ncaasports.com/Pontiac. They're going to take out Domonic Jones, and they're going to bring back in the sophomore Alexander Harper. Some foul issues now for VCU. 4 on Jones, and he's got the most of any. We've got 2 or 3 players with 3 fouls, including Godwin with 3, and he's on the floor.
Now, Wake Forest, even though they have struggled in certain aspects of the game, they have continued to attack, and in attacking, they have drawn the fouls, and we'll just have to see how that plays out here in the last 9 minutes of the game.
A good game that has consisted of 5 ties and 6 lead changes, and Nick George and the shot clock at 19. Harper. From behind, knocked away. Looked like Trent Strickland got it for Wake. He's got 4 fouls.
Question for Jeff Capel is how long does he keep his star player, Domonic Jones, on the bench? And I think in this situation, as long as he maintains the lead, and I think you keep Jones over there, save him for the stretch run. A lot of time left in this game.
Foul on Gray on the quick inbound pass to Doles.
And that's just an example of Doles, and we have seen it a couple of times. He is 6 feet 6 inches tall. Justin Gray is listed at 6 feet 2. They just lobbed it up in the middle to Doles. You don't necessarily have to have some 7-foot guy inside to get good inside play. You just have to have a bit of a mismatch.
16 assists and 14 turnovers. Now 15 turnovers for VCU. Gray the other way. That's out of bounds.
Boy, Wake Forest just looks really out of sync here in this particular basketball game. And VCU, they're a team that turns the ball over a lot. It's been a problem for them all year, but they have been able to withstand any problems that have been created so far with the turnovers as they continue to lead.
Wake Forest has 12 assists with those 9 turnovers. Doles with the miss.
Oh, great play by Justin Gray.
And here comes Paul into 2. Into the trailing Downey. Levy. Downey. Williams trying to get open, but he's covered and smothered by a couple of VCU defenders and a turnover. It was knocked away by freshman B.A. Walker for the Rams. We've already seen one upset as Manhattan has beaten Florida. 12 seed over a 5. Short. Cleaned up by Nick George and a foul.
And this is a situation where Doles once again with the jump shot, but nobody blocks out Nick George. A great hustle play by George. And while we're talking about hustle plays, Justin Gray, this ball almost in the hands of 3 VCU players, but he dives in and knocks it away. Unfortunately for Wake Forest, they weren't able to convert anything. Jeff Capel's guys, however, have been converting the opportunities they've been creating.
One of the oddities of this game, Wake Forest, Dan Bonner, is shooting 60% this half, but falling farther behind. VCU is only 47% in this half of basketball.
But VCU has done a really nice job making three-point baskets. VCU with 5 threes in the second half, and so when the other guys are getting 2 and you're getting 3, you don't have to shoot quite as high a percentage.
They got some foul problems, though, and that is a concern right now. Domonic Jones with 4. Tarek Reed with 4, and their big man in the middle, Troy Godwin, with 3. And for Wake Forest, only 1 player with 4, that's Strickland. 3 on Eric Williams. Aside from that, they're pretty clean.
Well, they have turned, Wake Forest, that is, has turned the ball over 5 times in the second half, the same as VCU. So the Demon Deacons that had an advantage in that stat in the first half have seen the advantage disappear.
Free for 3, and Wake Forest above the arc has gone 4 of 13. Big-time three-point shot by Wake Forest. It was Gray who's got 15 points, and he brings the Demon Deacons of Skip Prosser to within 3 of Virginia Commonwealth.
And Virginia Commonwealth, let's see if they can continue their habit that they've shown throughout this second half. Every time they need a basket, they get one.
This is the East Rutherford Regional. 4th seed Demon Deacons, 13th seed VCU with the ball in black. And Doles rejected inside by Eric Williams, saved and then deflected off of Doles with a heads-up play by Justin Gray.
Doles, I thought, really had an opportunity on the inside here. Catches the ball, matched up, but watch Eric Williams come over, help out his smaller teammate, block the ball out of bounds, and then a nice hustle play by Justin Gray. Wake with the opportunity to tie if they can get a 3.
Wake led by 11, down by 3. VCU has led by as many as 6. Williams snaps it outside. Downey for 3 in the tie.
You know, Williams is not noted for his ability to pass the ball, but that gives him 3 assists in this game, and that's career high for him. Only 16 assists coming in total for the season, but 3 today.
In the midst of our 7th tie with 6 lead changes and a foul on the perimeter. And Eric Williams has just picked up his 4th personal foul.
And, you know, you're excited. You've come back in the game. You've tied the game. You want to put some defensive pressure on. But Eric Williams has to be smart enough to know that you can't commit that foul 20 feet from the basket. You know, he's trying to make a play here, trying to step in front, but then he reaches that right hand in, goes for the ball with the left hand, nothing wrong there, but reaches the right hand in, picks up the foul.
On the free throw line, VCU has gone 10 of 11. Paul Levy for 3. Good! And Wake Forest has reclaimed the lead on a 9-0 run.
Wake Forest has taken a 3-point lead, and it's Jamal Levy who was big on the boards and defensively in the first half. The screen, he does not roll to the basket. He steps behind the 3-point arc, nails it. That's Wake Forest's first lead in the second half, and Domonic Jones, he went out with those 4 personal fouls.
That's our CBS Sportsline stat of the game. Get complete tournament coverage at cbssportsline.com.
So
Dan Bonner and Tracy Wolfson, Kevin Harlan here in Raleigh.
Kevin, we talked about when Jeff Capel would bring his star player back in despite those 4 fouls. Well, it's to try to help them respond to this adversity here in the second half.
Here's Jones, a senior. He was the Colonial Athletic Association Player of the Year. Firing on the fly, picked up by Downey. One of 3 guards on the floor for the Demon Deacons. Streaking in, looking for Visser. And Doles the other way.
Boy, Downey, you gotta recognize who's guarding you. It was Jones. He's got 4 fouls. He's going to back off. Take the ball to the goal.
Godwin with a travel and a turnover.
Don't often see Godwin catching the ball out at the top of the key and trying to take it all the way to the basket. And while we're talking about Domonic Jones with those 4 fouls, you can be careful usually on defense. You can step back and back off, but Jones is in there for his offensive production, and he's going to also have to be careful. Jeff Capel's going to want him to be careful. He's got to be aggressive, but he doesn't want to get that 5th foul as a charge.
VCU facing adversity pretty much for the first time in this second half. 4th straight year an SEC team upset first round. 5th seeded Florida losing to 12th seeded Manhattan. 25th time a 12 has beaten a 5 in the tournament. Chris Paul. Oh, finds a gap and flies inside.
And that's going to be a blocking foul, and that's another foul on Godwin, so that'll be 4 on him.
That kid accelerated and took off.
Boy, he's so quick with the dribble. Godwin never really got himself established on the inside, and Paul just runs him right over. And here's advantage for Wake Forest, an outstanding free throw shooting team. As a team, they shoot better than 70%.
Chris Paul, a great player, 12 points today. Had a high school game one time of 61 points.
And that was a situation where his grandfather, a guy who's very, very close to, was 61 years old when he was unfortunately murdered. And as a tribute to his grandfather, Chris Paul went out and scored 61 points. Actually had an opportunity to break the scoring record by scoring a 62nd, but he missed a free throw intentionally and took himself out of the game because he wanted those 61 to be a tribute to his grandfather.
He's a terrific young kid, a McDonald's All-America, Parade All-America, the North Carolina High School Player of the Year. And he just was named the ACC Rookie of the Year and is in the running for the National Freshman of the Year award.
84% free throw shooter who has missed a couple today.
Paul. Here comes VCU, and they're shooting 48% from the field for the game.
Tough situation for freshman point guard B.A. Walker, who was the Rookie of the Year in the CAA.
10-0 run for Wake Forest. Domonic Jones with the dance on County, and he hits it. And he makes it a 2-point game, and here comes Wake the other way, shooting 52% from the floor. Into Visser from Paul. And a rebound snared by Doles.
Visser, I think, lost his footing a little bit. If he goes up strong with that ball, he at least draws the foul, but he was off balance going up, and so the referees didn't bail him out by calling a foul. That would have been Reed's 5th.
Doles and a George screen. Wide open is Reed. Visser closes the gap. Shot clock at 7. That's a travel.
We have talked a lot today about the difficulties that Wake Forest has had on defense, but they really turn up the defensive heat right here. And there's Jamal Levy, number 10 for Wake Forest. He's in the middle of it, and he has been in the middle of a lot of things defensively for the Demon Deacons this afternoon. VCU back to the man-to-man.
VCU has not gotten the points in the paint like they did in the first half, and one of the reasons why Wake has been playing well. Gray hits the deck after missing the 3. VCU -4 in rebounding in this game. -4. Jones. Walker. A big-time 3. And VCU is back on top by 1. Timeout taken by Wake Forest. Changes. Wake Forest led in the first half by 11. VCU led at halftime by 3. And the Rams have led by as many as 6 in the second half. Now by 1. With under 4 to play.
I think shot selection very important for Wake Forest right here. They need to take good opportunities.
Paul with a slashing move inside.
And that was a good opportunity, Kevin, although I think he was pretty fortunate. It looked to me like he lost the ball on his way up, but was able to guide it into the basket.
Leading scorer is Nick George with 16 for VCU. Godwin, Walker, Doles, who's come off the bench and looked good. And Reed climbing the ladder, working on Williams.
And Williams is done.
He's gone. That's a big part of their middle, which is out of the game.
And once again, some questionable judgment on the part of Eric Williams. With 4 fouls, you just don't go out and attack that guy shooting the ball. He gets called for putting, hitting him on the wrist. And this is a tough shot by Reed. You don't expect him to shoot this ball coming off the screen. And Williams coming out and getting him.
Eric Williams will leave the game with 12 points and 8 rebounds. And a kid who has started every game in his Wake Forest career. And
this
his
is
mom.
The 6th time this season that he is fouled out of the game. Deborah, his mother, not very pleased at all with the turn of events. Williams right in the center of your screen, moves into Godwin and just goes right into Reed. That's a play. That's a tough shot. Don't bail the guy out.
Wake Forest by a point, but Derek Reed can tie. And this is the first.
And we talked about VCU's free throw shooting percentage. Shaw right there, 320 of 326. In terms of team free throw shooting percentage, Reed only 48% on the year.
Still can't tie. Virginia Commonwealth 1-11 all time against teams from the Atlantic Coast Conference.
But interestingly enough, even with that record, this is only the 3rd ACC team that VCU has ever played. They played Virginia 11 times and Georgia Tech once, and the Georgia Tech game is this year.
Harper picks up a foul trying to shadow Paul.
And that Georgia Tech game was a significant turning point for VCU this year. They went down to Georgia Tech early in the season and they lost the game. In fact, they lost by 20 points. But Jeff Capel and I talked yesterday, and he told me that he thought his players in that game felt as if they could play on the court with an Atlantic Coast Conference team, and that gave them a great deal of confidence coming into this game.
Jones is back in. As is Walker. VCU. Chris Paul. He averages 13 points a game. Under 3 to play. Wake Forest has built their lead 71-68. Wake Forest was down by 6 in the second half. They've come up now with a 3-point lead. VCU has been led by the CAA Player of the Year, Domonic Jones, with 15 points.
And Jones really has made some big shots off the dribble, driving into the lane. And Wake Forest, it hasn't been quite as smooth for Wake Forest on the offensive end, but Chris Paul with his ability to get into the lane. How quick is this guy off the dribble with the great ability to change directions, then the spin move right there to the basket. Chris Paul has really helped his team come from behind and take a 3-point lead. Of course, it's helped that Wake Forest has made 4 of their last 6 3-point baskets. The numbers on each of those guys, you see Jones with 7 assists, Chris Paul with 6.
Doles, Walker, Jones, Godwin, George, the VCU 5. VCU comes in with a 23-7 record. A 3 for the tie. At 71 by the electrifying Domonic Jones.
Boy, that was a major league screen by Godwin, and Vitas Danilus just left Domonic Jones. You can't do that.
This Paul. Godwin held and fouled him.
Domonic Jones, watch, he's going to go off the screen. That is a great screen, and Vitas Danilus just doesn't get over there in time. Justin Gray not able to get back to recover. Just talked about Domonic Jones, and he makes us look good by filling up a 3. That's now 10 threes in the game for VCU, but a more important number is 5, and it's 5 fouls for Troy Godwin, who's done.
With his 4 points.
We also just talked about Chris Paul, and Godwin is trying to make sure that Paul doesn't go to the basket, just reaches out that big arm and grabs on, and the problem is that's right out there in front of the referee. Might get away with that down inside where there's a lot of congestion, but Not out there, big fella.
Number 4 seed Wake Forest, third place finisher in the ACC, has led by 11, trailed by 6. And VCU has come back to tie. VCU is the 13th seed coming out of the Colonial Athletic Association.
And it is a VCU team that after they got down by 11 in the first half have just seemed to make every play they have needed to make. They've made 10 three-point baskets, which obviously is a big factor in the game.
Paul is 8 of 11 from the free throw line for the Demon Deacons. Wake Forest has lost 3 straight coming into the tournament. VCU has won 8 straight games.
It's a VCU team that has played with a lot of confidence, and you've watched that confidence soar as the game has gone on. These guys really believe.
Domonic Jones flies inside once again. He's got a game-high 20 points. He's added 7 assists for the Rams.
Kevin, that's just what I'm talking about, making plays, and that's what VCU has been able to do.
They go to Levy. Bumped inside by Derek Reed, who picks up the VCU foul.
Domonic Jones, we've seen him be outstanding with the basketball in his hands, but in this particular case, he's going to move without the basketball. A couple of screens, and then before the Wake Forest defense can react, he gets over and gets it all the way to the goal.
We've already had one upset here in Raleigh, North Carolina, as 12th seeded Manhattan has defeated number 5 seed Florida. And now I've got a 13 seed VCU on top of 4 seed Wake Forest.
And we've got a stoppage of play here because VCU has just lost another guy to fouls. It's Derek Reed, so very little size at all now in the game for VCU. Troy Godwin fouled out. He's the starting center. Derek Reed is the backup center at 6'8". There you see Reed's numbers with 4 points on the day. So tallest guy out there now for VCU, Michael Doles, 6'6", Nick George, 6'6".
Pelarosa will come in place of Reed, who just fouls out. There's Levy at the line. Wake Forest has missed 9 free throws, make it 10.
And Levy is only a 59% free throw shooter.
Wake Forest from the free throw line this afternoon, 12 of 22. Levy again. Ten ties and 10 lead changes in this game.
Wake Forest playing a relatively small lineup as well.
Walker. Levy with the rebound, and Levy's been all over the glass this afternoon. He's got 10 rebounds, 8 points, and 3 assists for Wake Forest.
Boy, and that ball was all the way down, Kevin, and came back out.
The freshman Paul. Levy for the lead.
Boy, what a great job by Chris Paul to find Levy on the inside.
Chris Paul with 7 assists and 18 points. No fouls to give either way. VCU with 2 timeouts, and Wake Forest has 3 remaining.
And in the last couple of minutes, VCU has really had a problem with Jamal Levy handling this screen here. Watch Jamal Levy right there. Sets the screen, then just drifts to the basket. Chris Paul finds him. The help defense doesn't come quickly. And that's a situation where if you're VCU, you have to know who that is who just caught the ball under the basket. That's a 59% free throw shooter. Don't let him dunk. Make him earn those 2 from the free throw line.
Wake Forest, the nation's 2nd highest scoring team. And their 4th straight NCAA tournament appearance. VCU is in the tournament for the first time since 1996.
And the officials are over at the scorer's table checking the TV monitor to see how much time is left in the game. Levy with the dunk right there.
Levy and Paul have scored Wake Forest's last 12 points. And the Demon
See, now the issue there is quite simply that when the basket is made with a minute or less remaining in the game, the clock is supposed to stop. So if the basket was scored with a minute and 5 seconds remaining, which it was, the clock can't run down below a minute. The clock and the shot clock on your left is not the issue. The issue is the game clock on your right. See, he dunks the ball with 1 minute and 4 seconds left, now 1 minute and 3, and the clock can run, but when a basket is scored with a minute or less left in the game, the clock is supposed to stop. See, more than a minute left as the clock, as he makes that basket. And with more than a minute left, the clock doesn't stop. With a minute or less, then the clock is supposed to stop.
.59 seconds. 59.8.
Well, and what that is you have to give the timer, it's a human element. You have to give human reaction time, and so that's exactly what's going on.
Doles will inbound, B.A. Walker.
So figure 0.2 for the human reaction time, and now every time a basket is scored, the clock will stop, provided the fellas over there remember to stop it.
Well explained. George, Walker, Doles. Polarosa thought about 3, and the shot clock is down to 11. Jones for the tie. Polarosa lost it and rebounded by George. Walker for the tie and clutched onto inside by Justin.
Oh, they've got to get a foul now.
As he weaves his way up court.
Well, they've got a foul.
Finally, Walker fouls call with 11.9 left in the game.
Jeff Capel encouraging his kids in that kind of a situation. You've got to get a foul right away because there were less than 35 seconds left in the game when this shot is missed. I think he was actually trying to pass that ball to Jones. And now you can see the shot clock less than 35 seconds. It's not a matter of playing good defense and getting the ball back. You got a foul. Nice job by Wake to move the ball to prevent the foul. And if he makes this, the ball game's over.
Ball has gone 9 of 12 from the free throw line in this second half for Wake Forest. A 4-point game with just under 12 seconds left in regulation. Wake Forest has come from 6 down to lead by 4 with 11.9 left to play. Our Chevrolet players of the game: Domonic Jones for the Rams of Virginia Commonwealth, and Chris Paul, the sensational freshman point guard for Wake Forest.
And Chris Paul with an assist that really is the difference in the game right at the moment. Gets the ball into Jamal Levy. The game was tied at 73 at that point, and Paul found Levy on the inside. Levy, who injured his knee in the first half, missed the last few minutes of the half with a twisted knee, has come back and played very well here in the second.
It's Jones and a quick timeout in a 2-point game, 77-75. We'll come back to Raleigh after this. Fouls to give either way with 5.6 seconds left in regulation.
And for Wake Forest, the job right now is to get the ball in bounds, and you would prefer to get it in bounds to Gray or Downey or Chris Paul. If you're VCU, if the ball goes in bounds, you try to make sure it's Trent Strickland and then foul it.
And a quick foul. Goes on B.A. Walker.
Now Chris Paul's going back to the line, and if he misses both of these, or if he only makes one of the two, then Jeff Capel's guys still have a chance, because 5 seconds is enough time to get the ball up the court and get off a good shot. And you don't have to throw it from three-quarter court. VCU has 1 timeout left.
It's a 3-point lead. 11 of 14 from the free throw line for Paul for the game. Tonight, most of you will see Alabama State against Duke. Others will see Vermont, UConn, third-seeded Texas also on display tonight on CBS. Walker hitting And they have counted the basket. It's a 1-point win for Wake Forest on a great effort by 13th seeded Virginia Commonwealth. The Demon Deacons will advance, and they will play 12th seed Manhattan here in Raleigh on Saturday in the East Rutherford Regional. That was a great game.
Really, a very gritty, tough performance by VCU. Wake Forest very fortunate to come away with that win.